What's going on, guys? Usually I have the microphone, but that'd be a little bit messy in this particular situation. I'm going to show you how to make a Bran-Bowl, all right? Good, lean, nutritional food that you can eat. You can vary up very easily and, eat healthily and quickly, which is very important, being able to sustain healthy, quick food. So I'm going to get straight into this. I'm just going to drop these things in and let you guys follow along, okay? If you have any questions, comment section, hit them up. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I use ground turkey 10 times out of 10, 22 grams of protein, 130 calories, so you're looking at 100 grams of protein and about 500 grams of 500 calories, which is right up in my macros. Always give it a good sniff, make sure it's, oh, I forgot. You always want to preheat your pot. With that happening, it gives me a chance to talk to you guys as far as, I can't yell because I'm clipping, give you guys the opportunity to be able to look at what we got here. So, Old Bay, good for seasoning. You got some garlic powder, some cumin, some Worcestershire sauce, some chipotle chili pepper, some onion powders, corn, for the coconut rice. We have some tortilla chips. Got coconut milk for the coconut rice. More on that in a second. Sugar-free barbecue sauce, sweet and spicy, great stuff. And I always use organic gourmet rice. I just like it. Use whatever rice you want. All right. So as the pan heats up, we're gonna go ahead and turn on the fan. Get some air circulating here. Another thing I like to use is going to be a hard spatula. I use these wooden ones. I always make sure I have some type of accolade on here so that I don't use this on my other food. And then occasionally I use a smaller one. Really helps with breaking up the food. All right, so let's go ahead and throw this in. I'm gonna go ahead and get the camera a little closer now that I've already shown you the ingredients. Let's go ahead and look at that. Bang! Make that a little bit closer. Oops. Alright, I hope you guys like this content. Stuff like this, let me know if you guys are interested in stuff like this. I love sharing this kind of stuff. So, one of the first things, you're going to go ahead and break it apart. That way it cooks a little more evenly. And a little bit more quickly. Ground turkey is very easy to cook. You want to get it around 170 degrees. Highly recommend you get an internal speed thermometer. These are not super expensive. It's about $100 maybe. And as soon as you touch that particular item, you'll get an instant reading. Very, very useful, especially when you're cooking meats, chickens and stuff like that. Let's guess and check. So, again, we're just chopping this stuff up, making it very, small chunks. Highly recommend that you take the chicken out. I'm sorry, whatever meat it is in the mornings, after the workout, after you wake up, whatever, grab it out, leave it in the sink, put it in the refrigerator, wherever you got to put it so that you can get to it quickly. As this is warming up, you don't want to get too hot too quickly. You want to take your time. Like, the thing about making something like this that tastes, pretty good and is cooked evenly and less stressful is just taking your time with it. Now, at this point in time, you can go ahead and add your Worcestershire sauce. Now, mind you, this is Bran-Bowl, okay? I don't have any rhyme or reason for why I'm doing what I do. It tastes good to me. I like it. And that's about it, right? And it's relatively within the realm of my nutritionary components, right? So, Worcestershire sauce, personally, I like to add a little bit of moisture in there. Give it a little bit of flavor. I also forgot I added eggs. More on that in a second. A little bit of cumin. Go ahead and not too much. You don't want all these flavors to compete. Usually when I'm done, I set it to the side. I use a lot of garlic powder. A lot of garlic powder. A lot of garlic powder. I love garlic powder. A little bit of onion powder. Not as much as that with that. Lots of Old Bay. Generally speaking, this is where my sodium's coming from. I've yet to add too much, but then again, I don't actively try to. And then just a little bit of chili pepper for a little bit of spice, right? The key to cooking is to clean up while you cook. Makes things go by a lot faster. So, can you guys see that? Now, with corn, you got to be mindful because it will turn into carbs, or sugar, rather. All right, so we're going to give it a little bit more heat. And at this point, just start, trying to break this stuff down just a little bit more. Mix up the meat. Get it, you want to give it a little bit of time for the meat to absorb some of the seasoning. Ideally, you would do this like a night before, mix it up and all that stuff. But again, this is a quick, healthy, just fast action way to get all your protein that you need, or at least half of it, depending on what your goals are. If you only need 150 calories a day, 150 grams of protein a day, one of these and you're 3/4 of the way done, right? So that's something to keep in mind, or I should say 2/3 of the way done. That's something to keep in mind. You need to be able to eat fast and eat quickly, and cook things fast and cook things quickly. That way it's not such a chore. Cooking by itself is already kind of a chore. So, I'm going to actually make this a little bit closer so you guys can really see what's going on here. Trying to figure out the best way to do this. There we go. Because when I start to add the eggs, there's definitely going to be a different type of component for that. So, just want to make sure this thing is still recording. Okay. All right. So as it starts to heat up, steam is moisture being released, right? That's just a good tip to know while you're cooking. Because in this particular meal, you're going to be adding frozen stuff. So you're going to be adding moisture, which is going to increase the cook time, right? So you just want to kind of keep that kind of stuff in mind. Again, some of this stuff may be very, very basic for the average chef, but for an individual who maybe a college kid or somebody who didn't really grow up in the kitchen, maybe your parents did all your stuff, you don't really have all of the knowledge and basics down, tips like that really, really help, right? So one of the cool aspects of this is, like, for me, it's still pink, right? It's going to turn like a grayish, like a gray Hulk type of color. While it's still pink, it's a good way for you to be able to make sure that the seasoning is mixed in. And a good way to do that is to just keep trying to break up all the pink parts, right? And in any parts that you see with a little extra seasoning, you want to go ahead and press on those and chop them down and just keep them mixing them up. You don't want to heat the pot too fast because then it won't cook evenly. And so for right now, this might be a little too hot, but for right now, we're going to keep it the way that it is because I should have preheated the pan, and that's why that's important to do. All right. So hopefully, this dish only takes about, once you add the dish only takes about 10 minutes to cook, but once you add like the seasonings and stuff, like the barbecue sauce and stuff like that, it can take a little bit longer because you're rapidly cooling down the pot. So just something to think about. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we're getting heated up pretty quickly here. In a second or two, we're going to go ahead and start to add our eggs. Now, for me personally, this is a step that you can cook, but it does change the texture of the meat. It gives it kind of a different texture, kind of spongy in a way. I hate saying spongy because, I mean, who wants to chew on a sponge? But it does change it up just a bit, and it adds a little bit of flavor to it. I rather enjoy it. It really does like enhance the food, in my opinion. And as you can see, I only added sodium one time. There's not going to be a whole lot of sodium in this. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just one of the things that I don't really add. I don't really use salt when I cook, particularly. I try to get seasonings that already have salt in them. That way I'm not double, triple applying it. But as the pan starts to heat up, you start to get that sizzle. If you're using stainless, some great stainless steel pans I got from my mom. Shout out to Mom. Thank you so much, Mom. Can't see my face, but thank you so much. I'd rather use those, but I kind of just grabbed the first one that was in front of me. Stainless steel, you definitely 100% have to let that heat up, because unlike this with a non-stick coating, stainless will absolutely, I'm going to increase the heat a little, increase the fan speed. Stainless will absolutely stick and burn immediately, so you have to give it that grace. And as you can see, the meat is changing, and the seasoning's kind of going away, and that's why it's important to be able to, you know, mix as much of that seasoning as you can, because as it starts to turn whiter, that grayish color, somehow the seasoning just goes away. I mean, I guess it's being absorbed, which is a good thing, because now your meat is becoming a little bit more tasty. Right? Meat is more tasty. I'm not sponsored by anybody in any of these products. This is just what I use. This is my kitchen that I built, and these are things that I like, right? So, yeah. So, this is getting cooked up well. And again, I've made this a million times, but if you are nervous and you want to make sure that it's cooked to the right temperature, bang, you stick that in there. And technically, once you get to 160, 170 degrees, I believe, you're good to go. So as you can see, we still got 20 degrees left about on there. I'm just going to go ahead and keep mixing it up. For me personally, I just try to see, I try to get rid of all the pink. Generally speaking, if you can get rid of all the pink, then the whole thing is done, right? The big pink parts, the small pink parts, when everything is gone, generally the entire meal is finished, right? And so I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but I'm gonna say, what, 15 minutes has passed, and we're about 60% of the way done. So as you can see, this isn't, now it does take you being actively being over it. It's not something you could just set and forget. This is not popcorn. Okay, you have to be mindful of this. You are cooking with a hot plate. You are bringing things to a very warm temperature, so you got to be mindful. Personally, I just like to keep mixing it up. It's a good way to make sure that all the seasonings blended together, and just to make sure that all the pink meat is cooked out, right? And we still got about another 10 minutes or so. So if you want to leave a little bit of pink meat, that's fine. You're not going to serve it like this, right? So you might be asking, why are you clearing a space here? It's like a fight's about to break out. Because this is where we implement our eggs. Now, I like adding eggs. Great source of protein, great source of fat. It's got zinc in it, I believe. And it's also good for your testosterone, right? A healthy fat. So for me personally, I just hit it. Trying not to get the shell in there. That's immediately what I did. Oh, I got the shell. Got that on camera. All right, so try not to get the shell in there. I'm used to breaking on the stainless, so that's why I kind of messed it up there. The stainless has a more sharper ridge, but see if we can hit it with a little bit more authority. And I cracked the egg again. And that's it. You want to get that in there. I always try to put it off to the side. You don't want to get its shell in there because you will taste it. You're going to eat this whole thing. You can eat this whole thing in a day. You will taste it. So, you got another shell. Yep. That's the first time I've ever had shells in here. But anyway, you want to break it up and then just go ahead and mix it. Go ahead and mix it. Go ahead and mix it. Now again, is this best practices? Is this what people do? I don't know. It works for me. I like it. Tastes good. It's fast. I'm getting fats in here. I'm getting healthy stuff. Now all of these macros and stuff is just dependent on what your nutritional intake is. If you're trying to cut and be lean, then you might not want to have as much fat. Maybe you want to use more leaner type of ground beef, right? Maybe skip out on the eggs. But for me personally, it's the winter time. I don't mind putting on a couple extra pounds as I'm trying to gain a little bit more size and volume in the gym. And as you can see, it gets a kind of a creamier texture. That won't last long. That will cook out. And generally speaking, for me, I like to cook that out before I add any other ingredients. Now, while that's cooking, a good thing you could do is add top on. That'll speed it up a little bit. I want to show you guys some of the things that I add on the regular. Right now it's corn, but another thing that I like to add, something like this, rustic, potatoes, and button mushrooms. So you can get your macro and your micronutrients. It's got green beans, herb sauce. Now it does increase your calories. 4 servings, 120 servings. So you're looking at another 500 calories in here. So altogether, this is about 1,000 calories or so. A little more, a little less. As you start to dial in your nutrition, you stop kind of counting calories and you just kind of count macros. Right? That's just kind of how it goes. But as you can see, it starts to cook out. You start to lose, again, that moisture that I was telling you about. You see how it's getting released? You kind of, personally, I like my food a little bit drier. I don't really like it runny, at least for this particular Bran-Bowl meal. So, what is that? I don't know what this is, but I always remove it. It's like some type of stringy meat, egg part. I don't know. Never fails. There's always like 2 of them, right, per egg, or 1 per egg. But yeah. So I'm gonna expedite this process just a little bit, so I'm not wasting too much of you guys' time. But generally, what I do is I'll clear another hole, right, and then I add some corn. The corn just helps with texture. Again, it's gonna drop the temperature of the pan, so you have to be prepared for that. You're adding cook time. You don't have to add these things. You can stop at the ground beef if you like. You can stop at the egg if you like. Personally, I like to just change it up a little bit. That way, you eat this 5, 6, 7 times a day, or a week. 1 with egg, 1 with green beans, one with rusted potatoes. It tastes a little different. It tastes good. And so that's really it, guys. Go ahead and slam that. Now, this is my secret sauce, right? Sugar-free barbecue sauce. I always look at the ingredients, find out what's in it. Can I make this, right? Can I buy these things inside the grocery store I got this from and make this? If the answer is yes, I don't know if you guys can even see this. I'm sorry about that. If the answer is yes, it's a check mark. I get it. If I can't buy these ingredients in the store that I'm buying this from, I usually don't get it. So now that that's like that, just want to go ahead. There's no wrong answer, guys, when you're talking about Bran-Bowl sauce. Well, I'm sorry, Bran-Bowl food. So let's go ahead and mix it. And again, you kind of want to let it, I'm going to include some photos of some other versions of this that I've made. But that's about it, man. Now, remember, the corn is frozen, right? So it's going to need some time. And once it does thaw out, it's going to release water. And then you're going to get more of like a mushy texture. Just leave it in there a little bit longer. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So once that's done, put that on, let that cook out, right? Get you some tortillas. These are the ones that I get. Get you some tortillas. 0 calorie. 0 net carbs. These are really tiny, but 1 tortilla is about 25 calories. So I usually eat 4 or 5 of these, As far as the coconut rice goes, here's some coconut rice that I made. It's a little burn. I like my coconut rice. I like my food a little dry. I don't really like moist food. But you get your coconut milk, right, and your rice, and you just mix these things together. I can do a video if you guys are interested. Let me know. I can do a video on that, no problem. Coconut rice is one of my favorite meals. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Try this out. Let me know what you think. How does it taste? I love it. Here ended the lesson.